It's pretty well known that level 100 is the maximum level in the Pokemon games. This has been the case for quite some time, but has recently stopped due to the hyperspace dimension in Pokemon ZA. However, did you know this was possible all along in the early generation Pokemon games? Today we'll see the different ways Pokemon can surpass level 100 and why it is possible. We will also see how far into the later generations we can take these over level 100 Pokemon later in this video. First, we will start with a glitch that is not typically used for getting Pokemon over level 100, and that is the Merge glitch, which is possible in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow with the glitch Pokemon that occupies Hex FF or Index 255. This is either Charizard M in Red and Blue or Q in Pokemon Yellow. Getting the glitch Pokemon 44HY or Index 192 can be evolved into Q in Pokemon Yellow, which then can be traded to Pokemon Red and Blue to get a Charizard M. The setup for the Merge glitch is rather simple and can be done in the Pokemon Party or a box in the PC. The Party is my preferred option, so we'll do it here. The setup in the Party is very simple. The first Pokemon will be the Pokemon that gets deposited, the second one will be the Index 255 Pokemon, or the Q in this case. The third Pokemon will be the Donor Bite Pokemon, and the last Pokemon is the Recipient Pokemon. The Donor Bite Pokemon will merge into the Recipient Bite Pokemon, and that will cause them to hybridize. Hybridized Pokemon have various unique properties. One property that occurs can happen with a specific types of Pokemon when merged. And this property that I am talking about is the ability to level over level 100. We'll notice here an odd looking Pokemon that has the sprite of a Dragonite but the color and nickname of Rabidash. This is a possible combination of Pokemon that can allow for the hybridized Pokemon to level up over level 100. This is because Dragonite has a slow experience growth, but Rabidash has a medium fast experience growth. This difference can cause a hybridized Pokemon to level up over level 100, bypassing the level cap check at level 100. Once this level cap is bypassed, the Pokemon can level up much further than level 100 or 101. Put simply, the Donor Bite Pokemon must have a higher experience cap than the Recipient Bite Pokemon to enable the ability to level up over level 100. Eventually the new cap will be established, and that will be the permanent cap for the hybridized Pokemon until it is balanced. Like level 107 for this particular combination. The Merge glitch has some limitations and causes Pokemon to be viewed as abnormal, so it is not able to be traded without being balanced, and balancing a Pokemon will make it lose its ability to level up over level 100. But this can be avoided with the use of the Trade Pokemon Name glitch, which is what I like to call it, but it is technically the Mew glitch. This method will involve flying away from a trainer, saving and resetting at the PC, saying no to the museum guy in Pewter City, talking to the trade NPC, this one in the fossil room in Cinnabar, and then returning back to the route with the trainer that was escaped from using Fly. What's interesting is that due to an odd effect, we can change the Pokemon we'll encounter from the Mew glitch by just talking to a trade NPC before returning to the route we escaped from. The NPC wanting a Kangaskhan for their muck, Sticky, will produce an interesting encounter for us. And keep in mind I am demonstrating this on Pokemon Yellow, which will give us different Pokemon than the ones in Pokemon Red and Blue. That's right, this one will give us a level 152 Kingler, which was based on that trainer's trade Pokemon's nickname, which happened to be Sticky, the Muck. This is perhaps the simplest method for getting a Pokemon over level 100, but it is very limited. I'll provide a link in the description with the results from the possible trade NPCs between Red and Blue and Yellow, as Red and Blue differ from Yellow, and vice versa of course. The number of different Pokemon over level 100 you can get with this method is very few, but it makes you wonder if more variation could be produced, if it's possible to change the trade Pokemon's nickname, as that's what gives the Pokemon for the Mew glitch. It's also possible to use the Merge glitch with the few Pokemon from this method as well. But there is even a better option for getting Pokemon over level 100, and that's with the glitch probably everyone knows, and that is the Old Man glitch. There is a high likelihood this is the most well-known glitch of this video, which is notorious for giving certain glitch Pokemon and sometimes Pokemon over level 100. Triggered by speaking to the old man in Viridian City, who demonstrates how to catch a Pokemon, Weedle in this case, due to a simple oversight. Water coasts, like the one in Cinnabar Island, can give Pokemon based on the player's name. Like the famous M here, that can effectively duplicate items for the player, similar to Missing No. but we are more focused on this encounter that gave us a whopping level 230 Mewtwo. Of the glitches mentioned thus far, this one has the greatest number of different Pokemon available for getting over level 100. Since these Pokemon already have bypassed the level cap, they can be leveled up to the true maximum of these games, level 255. Level 255 is the absolute highest in Generation 1, technically, since level 256 actually equals 0 and causes the level to overflow to level 0, and then level up normally from there. This is of course a method for getting a level 0 Pokemon, which can actually be quite difficult. In addition, they're nowhere near as good as level 255 Pokemon, but there are a few methods that can be used to get both. Starting with the SRAM Glitch, the save abuse glitch in other words, which can be done by resetting during the saving process, usually done at the beginning of the game. This can be used to easily get many Pokemon over level 100 and making most of them level 255, along with making them index 255 or Charizard M or Q depending on which game. You'll notice that these Pokemon tend to be very extreme with odd stats and very long names, usually consisting of a bunch of 9s. These Pokemon can be investigated easily with the rival battle at the beginning of the game, but it will become apparent quickly that most, if not all, of the Pokemon are unusable. However, there are methods to fix this issue while being able to keep a few of these Pokemon for yourself. But that's not the focus of this video. As mentioned earlier, once a Pokemon bypasses level 100 cap, they are free to level up to the true maximum level of 255. But what happens when a Pokemon downlevels while above level 100? This next glitch will give us an opportunity to investigate that and see yet another method for getting Pokemon over level 100. And that is the ZZAZZ glitch, which will be set up using the Ditto trick with a special stat 250, attack stage 7, which will give us loadout 7 for the ZZAZZ glitch trainer. This is quite a unique glitch, possible in all 3 games and capable of making Pokemon over level 100. It will usually turn your Pokemon into Bulbasaur hybrids, usually at level 153. While in these battles, using an item will end these glitch battles, allowing us to bring the load of other glitch effects to the overworld. Most notably, the player name is now just ridiculous, basically ZZAZZ, which does have a possibility of deleting the save data if the game is saved. I will also say I have no clue why I have 2 random golems down at the bottom of the party. All I know is that it's caused by the ZZAZZ glitch. It's time to check out these Bulbasaur hybrids in battle and see what happens when Pokemon over level 100 gain experience. Unfortunately, the game will realize that it is over level 100 and cause it to cap at level 100 again. Usually the Pokemon will down level to 100, but in this case it did not. An effect from the ZZAZZ glitch caused the game to crash. As always, another alternative is to use rare candy, which does not cause down leveling, and causing evolutions if applicable, like it is here, which still occur even if the Pokemon down levels. This is one situation where the merge glitch can be very valuable because of its capability of keeping Pokemon over level 100. With all this being said, the ZZAZZ glitch is a fun glitch but not ideal for getting Pokemon over level 100 due to its limitations for different Pokemon, and it is potentially dangerous. Speaking of dangerous and fun glitches, Super Glitch might be the most dangerous glitch while being the best for fun effects. Still possible in all 3 games, but easiest to do in Pokemon Yellow. The glitch Pokemon Q can learn Super Glitch via level up at level 9. Using this location in the Celadon Mansion can prevent the game from freezing. Super Glitch is capable of giving pretty much any Pokemon at any level, but has a high likelihood of breaking the save file. There are methods of fixing Super Glitch while still keeping some Pokemon obtained from this method, but it is a high risk when playing on original hardware. Many of the Pokemon obtained from Super Glitch tend to be hybridized as well. This glitch causes so much chaos by corrupting the game's SRAM, which usually will change many of the Pokemon's level byte in the Pokemon party. This level byte is responsible for determining what level a Pokemon should be based on the hexadecimal value ranging from 00 to FF. Sound familiar? Hexadecimal 00 equals level 0. Hexadecimal 64 equals level 100. Hexadecimal 69 equals 105. And hexadecimal FF equals level 255. This is why levels over level 100 even exist in the first place, and it becomes possible to obtain through many of the glitches in Generation 1. You'll see here that Super Glitch is great for getting all sorts of Pokemon at various levels, including 255 and 0. You'll see this huge variety of Pokemon in the PC once you go to deposit. We can deposit our Pokemon from a party, which will allow us to scroll through this large amount of Pokemon that we have in our Pokemon party. But Super Glitch, like the ZZAZZ glitch, it is not great for the save file. So please, once again, do not try this on original hardware. And if you do, it's at your own risk. Now, something odd I came across. An interaction between Generation 1 and 2 involves trading a Pokemon over level 100 from Gen 2 to Gen 1. You'll notice that I have Pokemon Yellow on the left and Pokemon Gold on the right. I have that level 152 Kingler from earlier on Yellow, and a level 205 Squirtle on Gold. But Gold won't accept the Kingler, but is fine with sending Gen 2 Pokemon or an over level 100 Pokemon to Gen 1. I just thought that was kinda silly, and is yet another way to get an over level 100 Pokemon in Generation 1. But you might be wondering, how did I get a level 100 plus Pokemon in Gen 2? Let me show you a couple of different options now. The merge glitch also exists in Generation 2 and practically works the same way as in Gen 1. 2 Pokemon are needed at the top of the party. The index 255 Pokemon, or 5 question marks FF in Gen 2, will be in the 3rd slot. The donor bite Pokemon will be in the 4th slot, and the recipient bite Pokemon will be in the 5th. The last Pokemon can be any Pokemon. This glitch does function the same as it did in Gen 1, but the hybridized Pokemon are slightly different. It also should be noted that the merge glitch is used more for getting shiny Pokemon rather than getting Pokemon over level 100, but it does still have that capability like it did in Gen 1, which we can see with this Typhlosion-Squirtle combination. However, the experience growth exploit to cause a Pokemon to level over level 100 does not work. But if the Pokemon are already over level 100, the resulting hybrid Pokemon can take that level. Not ideal, but it is still possible. Another possible method for level 100 plus Pokemon would be using the glitch Pokemon, but this is also limited as you will see here. Glitch Pokemon FF and Gold and Silver, or FC and FE and Crystal, have the ability, due to an odd experience growth, to level up continuously and technically over level 100, but is temporary. This is also an opportunity to show that the true maximum is still 255 in Generation 2, and that it still overflows to 0. But 5 question marks FF will end up at level 3 instead of level 0. This is not ideal, and still not over level 100. This leaves us with the absolute best way to get Pokemon over level 100 in Generation 2, using the Mail Rider and Arbitrary Code Execution. Arbitrary Code Execution was an option in Generation 1, by the way, but it tends to be dangerous if used incorrectly. As for the Mail Rider and Ace in Gen 2, they work great, but do require setups that I will link in the description. With these two methods, they can be used to get any Pokemon at any level, and as we saw earlier, these Pokemon can be transferred to Generation 1 even if they are a Johto Pokemon, with the use of the Time Capsule exploit. This answers the questions for Gen 1 and 2, but what about Gen 3 and onward? This is where Game Freak really got their act together and started making glitching much less common and typically with less variety. There are some options in later generations for getting Pokemon over level 100, but this usually just involves Ace or save editing. They also made changes to the leveling system in those games, so it's another layer that makes them stand out from the early generations. One thing that I personally tested myself was using the Poké-Transporter feature on 3DS to transfer that level 152 Kingler from earlier, but when it ends up in Pokemon Bank, it just goes to level 100. Generations 1 and 2 are truly the most broken Pokemon games in terms of severity and quantity of glitches, and thus giving us multiple and relatively easy ways to obtain Pokemon over level 100. This is going to conclude today's video, and I want to give a big thank you if you made it to the end. I hope that you found this video enjoyable, and please let me know what you thought of it in the comments. and if there are any methods that you know of getting Pokemon over level 100 that I didn't show in this one. If you are interested in knowing more about the time capsule exploit, click on this video here. If you want to see more over level 100 Pokemon and the top 5 hidden battles of Pokemon Yellow, click on this video. Either way, thank you guys again for watching, and I hope I see you guys next time.